Shalom, shalom, shalom. I'm on here and I feel like I've talked about this before. But I mean, Yahuwah repeats himself, so it doesn't surprise me that he would have me repeat myself. But anyway, one of the things that I've been thinking about recently is how Yahuwah got me to slow down. Um, what I mean by that is, we're going through life, we're always rushing. We're always trying to get to the next place, spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, physically. We're always trying to get to that next place. But all throughout Yahuwah's word, we're urged to be still or to wait on Yahuwah. And it's not that Yahuwah is slow, it's just Yahuwah does not operate in time. So it sometimes feels slow to us because we're constantly in this state of rushing around, hurry up and get there. And wherever there is, once we get there, then we're trying to hurry up and get to the next place. But Yahuwah, so when it comes to healing, that's the place that he had me to slow down. And through that, he showed me the benefits of slowing down and not feeling rushed. Like, I don't have to be mentally where you want me to be. I need to be mentally where Yahuwah tells me I need to be at this time, if that makes any sense. And slowing down and allowing him to cultivate his way, his word, and all the other stuff into me, which, by the way, Ruach HaKodesh told me to pray for. And the reason why I always say Ruach HaKodesh told me to pray for it is because I, on my own, didn't know that I needed to pray for these things. And these are the types of things that Yahuwah wants us to pray for. And those are the types of prayers that he answers very quickly as well. But said all that to say, through that, I was really able to sit down and see not just everything that was going on around me that I couldn't see because I was always rushing, trying to, get here, get there, whatnot, but also all of the times that I made mistakes, that I stumbled over the stumbling blocks instead of avoiding them, and how I stumbled. And now similar situations are being presented to me, and I'm able to avoid the stumbling block, praise Yah, because I'm not moving as fast. I've slowed down, and I'm really seeing what's around me and what's being presented to me. I'm really able to hear when a person is speaking to me with Ruach HaKodesh, or if it's an unclean Ruach, and even Ruach HaKodesh has allowed me to know which unclean Ruach it is. And I'm not saying that like, oh, look at me, this is what I can do. I'm saying it because that's very necessary. If you are going to intercede on someone's behalf, you need to know what's operating in and through them. You know what I'm saying? You also need to be able to hear Yahuwah's voice, because sometimes Yahuwah tells us not to pray for people. A perfect example of that is the prophet Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah. In Jeremiah chapter 11, I want to say verse 14, Yahuwah literally tells him that, if you pray for these religious leaders and all this other stuff that are doing this foolery, in the day that you do, I won't hear them. And when they cry out, I'm not going to hear them. Well, he said, I won't hear you. I'm not going to answer your prayer, basically. And then he said, when they cry out, I'm not going to hear them. That is very crucial information, because that's not what I was taught in the system that I came out of. I was taught that we're supposed to pray for everybody all the time, and we're supposed to basically be like spiritual hippies. And that's not true. But you're able to operate in the wisdom that Yahuwah gives you via his Ruach when you slow down and you start to walk with him. Again, he's not in time. Eternity is the absence of time. And I said this on a TikTok video, but I'm going to say it here too, just in case I don't upload this to TikTok. But Yahuwah gave my dad a revelation. A lot of us have been taught that eternity is the abundance of time. I thought that eternity was the abundance of time. My dad was given, he's an Israelite as well. He was given a revelation from Ruach HaKodesh that eternity is actually the absence of time. And as soon as I heard it, Ruach HaKodesh took me to Revelation 10 and 6 that actually says that time will be destroyed. So that's when I was like, wow, it makes more sense that eternity is the absence of time and not the abundance. And then the next thing that Yahuwah did was he reminded me of the story of Lazarus and when Yahusha tarried before he went to Bethany. And when the first person he came across was Lazarus' sister, Martha. And he let Martha know that he is the resurrection. He was operating in step with Yahuwah and not in step with the time of the world, if that makes any sense. Because if you look at it, before he went to Bethany, it said that wherever he was 15 stadia away. So when I looked that up, that's about a 30-minute walk. He was 30 minutes by foot, but he waited 2 days. He waited 2 days, and by the time he came, they were like, surely he stinks by now. Because they understood that he's been gone far too long for this resurrection to take place, right? But because Yahusha was not operating in the time of man, got something in my eye, he was operating in step with Yahuwah. Time wasn't a factor. And now that I've come to that understanding via Ruach HaKodesh, it really has helped. Not just me, but it's helped me give other people grace and mercy when I see them walking with Yahuwah as well. Because I understand that they are going at the pace that Yahuwah has for them. Does it mean that if Yahuwah gives me something to say to them, I don't? No, it doesn't mean that. We're supposed to always obey Yahuwah at, whatever, at his word. But what it does mean is I'm not going to beat you over the head. And understand this. Tonal inflection does not imply love. So what I mean by that is someone can say things and it appears to be in a harsh way, but it's really just them being passionate because they love you and don't want to see you stumble. And then someone can say things in a very sweet way, but then they have ill intentions for you. I highly doubt that the serpent speaking to Hawa in the garden was speaking to her in a harsh way, because she probably wouldn't have listened. That's the reason why it's called smooth sayings. You know what I'm saying? It sounds really sweet and smooth, and it's easy to digest. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody that's speaking smoothly to you, it has ill intentions, and it doesn't mean that everybody that is speaking passionately has good intentions for you. It just means that you cannot go off of the tonal inflections. Yahusha told us that you shall know a tree by their fruit. That's what we're supposed to be paying attention to. Everything else is not indicative of anything if the fruit doesn't match up, okay? So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because one of the things that I have noticed is the more I settle into walking with Yahuwah in step with him versus just running out there and doing whatever, the more I notice that I'm not so eager to get on here and make videos or so on and so forth. And I'm not saying that if you're doing that, it's wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about my testimony, my walk. What I am saying is slowing down and observing caused me to realize that there is a plethora of people that are obsessed with the second Exodus, the second coming of Yahusha. And although we should be aware, are we so focused on his coming back that we're not prepared for it? Because what if all these people you beating over the head because they're not doing this and they're not doing that, what if when Yahusha does come back, you're not able to enter into the kingdom with him because you didn't prepare yourself? And it makes me think of Shaul, because he even talked about that. He talked about teaching people, but then, it would be no good if he himself wasn't righteous. You know what I'm saying? Hypocrisy. This has caused me to sit back and really say, am I being hypocritical? Am I doing what I am encouraging other people to do? Am I out here saying thus saith Yahuwah, and then not doing it myself. Because if that's the case, then I am a hypocrite, which it's really hypocrite. And that word in Greek is actor. I'm acting. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm pretending to be something that I'm not. So I've seen a lot of it, focused on who Yahuwah is going to destroy and focused on what Yahuwah is going to do to the world. But are you serving him? Do you know him? Do you know his word? And when I say, do you know his word, I'm not talking about a book. His son is his word. Do you know his word? Didn't Yahusha say that when he comes back, there's going to be a lot of people that said, I did all this, that, and the other in your name. And he's going to say, away from me, you worker of iniquity. I never knew you. It's very important. He also says in John 5, he said, you search the scripture thinking that in them you have eternal life, but you won't come to me. Then he tells you that Masha, Moses, speaks of him. And if you don't believe Masha, then how can you come to him? It's little things like that that makes me go, do I? Notice I said it makes me go, do I, not do you. Because at the end of the day, I can't control what you got going on. I can come tell you my testimony. I can share with you what it is that Yahuwah has given to me, hoping that it helps you. But at the end of the day, you have to decide for yourself if you care about your soul. That's between you and Yahuwah. And I can't be so focused on if you doing what you need to do that I don't do what I need to do. I want to know Yahusha. I want to know my bridegroom. I want to know Yahuwah, his father, my father. You know what I'm saying? So when I asked Yahuwah to show me how to walk in step with him, not running ahead, not falling behind, and to order my steps, this is what he did. This didn't look like what I thought it was going to look like when I asked him to do it. But that's the point. When we're submitted to him and we trust him, we ask him for things like this, and then we allow him to do what it is that he's going to do. The other thing that doing this helped me to do was stop chasing people. When I see people choosing what's important to them, it no longer hurts my feelings if it's not me. Because I allowed them to be who they are, and they showed me who they are. And if I'm not important to them, then guess what? That's their prerogative. There's no reason to be upset about it. Just like if I tell somebody, thus saith Yahuwah, or if I talk to them about Yahusha and they show me that something else is more important, that's not my prerogative. Does it hurt me to see people reject truth? Yes, it does. But I'm not going to beat people over the head for it. And I'm pretty sure people think that I do. But social media is not who the person is. Social media gives you a glimpse of a person. And a lot of people on social media are not really being who they really are. They're being who they want you to see they are. That's what's really going on. So if we get on social media and we assume we know a person based off of what we see on social media, instead of allowing Ruach HaKodesh, if you're filled with Ruach HaKodesh, because if you're not filled, you're never going to know. But if you're filled with Ruach HaKodesh and you're not allowing Ruach HaKodesh to make you into a fruit inspector, then anything you say about that person until you know that it's true is speculative. And speculation is borderline false witness if you don't know it to be true or not. Now, if you know it to be true, that's a different story. But do you all know what I pray for outside of the things that I've told you about? Do you all know what I pray for? Do you know the things that I speak to Yahuwah? Are you in my house to see how I behave? Now, I will give you some transparency. The people who are the closest to me know that I'm a hot, funky mess. They know that. I am not perfect. I have my times, and I go to Yahuwah. I do. I go to Yahuwah. So to some people, I might present myself when I come on here as just being holier than thou. By all means, that is not the case. Not at all. I have my moments where I want to choke somebody. And I have to submit that over to Yahuwah. I have some moments where I will cuss folks out, and I have to submit that over to Yahuwah. I have moments where I'm judgmental of people, and I have to submit that over to Yahuwah. But he allowed me to see more of me and the things that I'm doing wrong and have done wrong in the past by slowing down and taking my time and understanding that there's no rush in his kingdom. So that's all I want to talk to you guys about. I know I'm long-winded. Y'all still love me anyway. All right. Much ahaba and shalom.